Welcome back, everyone, to the Suit Yourself podcast, part of the Finish First Media Network team. My name is Austin, joining you tonight solo for maybe the second time. Fellow co-host number 2, Brandon, was not able to make it tonight. He is busy with finals this week. Shout out to him. So very unfortunate, maybe not so much for you, but for him. Just kidding, of course. We'd like to first of all apologize for not having a preview episode at the end of last week. We got a little busy with things, so that was not able to happen. But thankfully, we are back to a normal schedule, hopefully, and we will be going over the Week 11 recap for this week. A lot of great games that we're going to go over. First of all, not as much or not as comprehensive as we typically do it, but we are going to go over a brief breakdown of some of the very large items for this week for fantasy in terms of injuries and whatnot. Again, this is going to be very quick. Obviously, anybody with a pulse knows that Joe Burrow is currently out. His status for the beginning of the 2021 season is actually partially in jeopardy with that ACL-MCL tear. So we're hoping that he's going to be back for Week 1, but obviously he will be out. Ryan Finley will be replacing him. Lord help the Bengals. Other news, J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram are both in the COVID protocol, and I believe that it's looking like they will not be playing this week. So if you were able to have, or if you do already have, Gus Edwards, great week to have the Gus bust, as it looks like it's going to be him moving forward. He's looking to be a great play this week. And like I said, it was just going to be very brief on the updates there. That being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into our recap here. First game we're going to start with is the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. And what ended up being a very good game, actually. I don't know if people are surprised that the Seahawks won. I mean, I really wasn't, but I don't know. I think a lot of people thought the Cardinals were going to torch Seattle. That is not how things happened. Seattle takes this one 28-21. It's kind of the same for Murray. 29 for 42, 269 through the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Also added 5 for 15 on the rushing. So they actually did a pretty good job containing him this week, which is something that's pretty rare for Seattle, and something that's also pretty rare for Kyler Murray is getting shut down on the run. So Kenyon Drake, 11 for 29 and a touch. That's a 2.6 yard per carry there. So for those keeping score at home, that is not overly great there. Nothing you want to look forward to. Chase Edmonds only getting the 2 touches. Obviously, they only ran, if you combine Kyler as well, 18 times. So very limited in terms of what they were able to do. And like we said, it was more of a passing game as Kyler threw for 42, 32 attempts. Larry Fitzgerald led the team in targets, 8 for 62 on 10 targets, also led in targets. DeAndre Hopkins, 5 for 51 on 8. So, I mean, if you look through here, the next 3, he got the ball around a lot. I would expect this game to not be a good barometer of things to come. I know they went late to Larry Fitzgerald, got a lot of that work late. So, it's something that I would not expect that to keep happening, and, this is more of just one of those anomaly weeks. On the Seattle side of the ball, Russell Wilson, 23 for 28, very effective day for him, obviously. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but under 200 yards passing with 197, so something also that's kind of rare for him. In an odd way, they seem to kind of shut each other down, which is a little strange. Carlos Hyde had the big day, 14 for 79 and a touchdown on the ground. Russell Wilson actually scrambled or rushed, whatever you want to call it, 10 times for 42 yards. So that's kind of, for current Russ, that's quite a bit. So, again, this game is a little bit confusing. Maybe not so much with the receiving. Tyler Lockett, 9 for 67 and a touch on team high, 9 targets. DK Metcalf, 3 for 46 and a touchdown as well. These guys essentially just seem to flip-flop given the week, so nothing really overly unusual here. You would have liked to see DK do a little bit more, but in a full PPR league, you're still over 10 points, so nothing to cry about. Greg Olsen did get hurt, which is, I guess it's news. I don't want to call it big news, but he tore something in his foot, I believe it was. It's a really weird word. I, for some reason, can't remember it right now, but he has a foot injury that will potentially sideline him for the season. Not quite sure right now. Was it the plantar fasciitis? I don't know. No, it was that. That's not a muscle. Anyway, moving on from that gaffe, we are going to go ahead and move to our next game, which will be a dumpster fire of a game. The Eagles versus the Browns. This game was all about turnovers, unfortunately, for Carson Wentz. Wentz, 21 for 35, 235, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That really doesn't tell the entire story. Was sacked in the end zone for a safety. in a crucial moment. Again, a lot of this stuff is not really his fault. It's just he has not played well, but I feel like there's a built-in excuse all the time, which, whether or not you want to, give him that, I guess that's up for you to decide. But I think, I honestly, I guess at this point, don't really know what I think about Wentz. I think he's good, but it might just be a good time for him to move to a different team or a different coordinator or something. Something there is just not working. The offensive line has not been good, at least pass blocking, and they're finally getting some weapons back. I have a hard time calling these guys weapons. I mean, we're looking at, Dallas Goedert, which, fair enough. But when he's your lead receiver, that's not good. 6 for 77 and a touchdown on team high 6 targets. Jalen Reagor, 4 for 52 on 5 targets. And after that, I guess Richard Rodgers got the other touchdown. But by the way, Richard Rodgers has been oddly a touchdown guy for his role. He's never the primary target on a team, but or tight end even, but he's always getting touchdowns, whether it be on the Packers or the Eagles somehow. Travis Fulgham really wrecked your day. 1 for 8 on 7 targets. I don't know what the heck happened there, but shout out to him for that performance. That's great. As far as running the ball, Miles Sanders looked pretty good. 16 for 66 yards. Boston Scott down to 5 for 24, so he's not really much of a participant in the offense when Sanders is back in there. They both got 3 receptions on, it looks like 3 and 5 targets. So nothing really to write home about there. Nick Chubb doing his best to really propel you to a win. However, he did not get touchdowns. He was 20 for 114 on the ground. No touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 13 for 11 with a touchdown. Of course he did. Chubb gets him all the way down there to the red zone, and of course Kareem comes in and takes it. Kareem also 1 catch for 10 yards. As far as the passing went, this was another weird weather game, I believe. Baker, 12 for 22, so he even hardly had to throw. No touchdowns, no interceptions. And you know what that means? That means nobody on the team was worth starting as a wide receiver. Austin Hooper, 3 for 33 on 5 targets, so I guess he was, a little bit of something. Jarvis Landry, 2 for 23 on 2 targets. And I ask myself again, why am I rostering this man? I also want to know, I think at this point he's probably droppable. And by probably, I mean you should have dropped him 3 weeks ago. I should take my own advice, by the way. Kareem Hunt, or excuse me, not Kareem Hunt. It makes you wonder why they are even paying Odell Beckham Jr. at this point. If they're just not going to, I know he's obviously hurt, but if they're not even going to throw the ball, why even have 2 guys that, I know Jarvis is borderline, you wouldn't call him elite, but he's very good for the role he plays. It's just a very weird situation, so I don't expect that to hang around much longer. Speaking of hanging around much longer, that's probably most of the Eagles roster as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the division-leading Eagles turn the season around. I will say that it is worth noting they did score 17 points in the third and fourth quarter to 0 in the first half. So they, as always, kind of mounted a late comeback effort, but also, as always, just wasn't quite enough. Next game we're going to move on to is Falcons-Saints. I don't know how to attack this one. Taysom Hill obviously started in the place of hurt Drew Brees. I'm just going to say Taysom Hill is not good. I don't think it. I get so bothered by his rushing touchdowns. It makes no sense. Every time he rushes for a touchdown, it's usually they have the ball between the 4 and the 7, and he's under center, or I guess in a shotgun, and he runs it every single time. Has the man ever thrown the ball in the red zone? I don't know. But every time I'm watching my television and I see him take a snap in the red zone, he is rushing it, and he never gets touched. I am just perplexed at how this is possible. It's like the whole Tebow thing. If you know the guy can't throw, why are you... Anyway, you'd think sample size would mean something here, but or the statistics here of the run-to-pass ratio in the red zone would mean anything to somebody, but apparently it does not. I'm gonna stand the anti-Taysom Hill crowd here. Taysom Hill, 18 for 23, 233 yards. It is worth noting his passing average was higher than Drew Brees' in terms of average yards per pass, which probably isn't a surprise to anybody since Drew Brees has a noodle for an arm at this point. But he also had 10 carry for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. So no passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. This was the most obvious thing of all time. Latavius Murray, on the other hand, 12 for 49. Alvin Kamara, 13 for 45 and a touch. So honestly, outside of Taysom Hill, pretty bad day for any kind of running back on that team. Taysom Hill, obviously, like we said, saved by those 2 rushing touchdowns. Mike Thomas, 9 for 104 because, of course, that was team-high 12 targets. Emmanuel Sanders salvaged his day, 4 for 66 on 5 targets. Taysom Hill, long-term, I don't trust anyone besides Michael Thomas. And his ceiling is quite a bit lowered in my opinion, but he's obviously Michael Thomas, so he's going to be fine. Probably your 12 to 15, 16 points a game, even with Taysom. But I don't think the rest of the offense is. I think I'm really bullish on them. People talking up Taysom Hill like they weren't also playing the 3-6, I guess at the time, Atlanta Falcons. So Falcons defense is horrendous and has been for years. As a Packer fan, I feel like we have the same defense, but the Falcons defense has been terrible for a long time now. So I don't know why anybody is propping up Taysom Hill as being anything other than a glorified running back there. But, what do you do? I'd put Jameis in, but hey, what do I know? I'm not getting paid to coach in the NFL. Matt Ryan, 19 for 37, 232 yards, and 2 interceptions. In case you also wanted to know why the Saints won, that was not having anything to do with Taysom Hill. Todd Gurley, 8 for 26, 7-yard long. Brian Hill, 4 for 18, so Atlanta pretty much just sucked. Calvin Ridley, 5 for 90 on 9 targets. Russell Gage, 7 for 58 on a team-high 12 targets. Julio, 2 for 39 on 2 targets. He was limping around a little bit. He did not look particularly healthy, but you really would have expected a little bit more out of him. But again, the team looked terrible. Matt Ryan only threw for 230 yards. So they did not score in the second half. So I don't know what's going on with Atlanta. I don't think New Orleans is all that great, to be honest. Their defense is good, and Drew Brees keeps them afloat. I would expect Taysom Hill to be really pressured by a good team. And obviously that's not the Falcons. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with that situation. Next game we have Bengals, Washington football team. I don't know why I don't say Washington football team first. My mind always freezes when I see the Washington. The battle of the bad here. 2-7-1 versus 3-7. The Bengals take the L 9-20, which is pretty embarrassing. This puts the Washington football team half a game out of first place in that division. This is me eye-rolling and shrugging and whatever else you want me to do. Joe Burrow, 22 for 34, 1 touchdown. This was before the injury everybody knew was going to happen because their offensive line is so poor, and he gets hit 1,000 times a game. Again, he is out for the rest of the year. Ryan Finley, 3 for 10, 30 yards, and an interception. So I'm really liking any kind of prop that has any kind of betting prop that has Ryan Finley throwing interceptions and not scoring points. So big time down on the Bengals. At this point, I'm even wondering if they're going to bring Joe Mixon back. Why even bother at this point? But my fantasy team hopes so. But what do you do? Ryan Finley, it's unbelievable. He's tied for the lead in rushing yards on 1 for 19. So this team is going to be an absolute dumpster fire. I don't think anybody on this team is particularly worth playing outside of maybe the running back. And I guess maybe Tyler Boyd, but it's I don't know. I'm really down on anybody. If I was playing DFS, none of these guys would be on my team. Especially AJ Green bouncing back with, I believe this was his first or second touchdown of the year. Don't be fooled. Don't pick him up. Don't do anything with him. Avoid Bengals at all costs unless it's Joe Mixon, but I would still probably try to avoid if possible. Alex Smith, 17 for 25, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nothing crazy there. He was not throwing over 45 times again this week, so that's probably why they won. Haha, me making terrible jokes. Antonio Gibson, 16 for 94 and a touchdown. Really killed my fantasy team. He did that on the ground. And 1 for 10 through the air. J.D. McKissick also got 6 touches for 43 yards. Peyton Barber, 8 for 28. So they really got a lot of rushes. Looks like 34 total carries, which is quite a bit. On that end, McLaurin, 5 for 84. McKissick, 3 for 26. McLaurin did lead the team with 7 targets. So they didn't really have to do too much here to get an easy win. Oddly enough, Washington was losing at halftime, but that Burrow injury really took the steam out of the Bengals, as one would expect. So spent way too much time talking about this awful game. We're going to move on to our next awful game, which is the Lions-Panthers. The Lions, which Brandon is constantly standing, lost this game 20-0 to P.J. Walker, who, if you ask me, little secret here, he's better than Teddy Bridgewater. Anyway, Anyway, PJ Walker, 24 for 34, 258, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. I know that probably doesn't help my case. Matt Stafford, 18 for 33, 178, and no touchdowns, no interceptions. So not the best game from him. Adrian Peterson led the team in carries, 7 for 18. Kerryon followed, 6 for 17. So nobody getting it done. Kerryon did lead the team with yards per carry with 2.8. I know, big deal there. Mike Davis, 19 for 64 and a touch. Rodney Smith also got 8 carries for 29 yards. So not much to talk about there. I will note that P.J. Walker was 5 for -2. So a nice running day out of him. T.J. Hawkinson, 4 for 68 on 7 targets, led the team on all of those stats. And if you wanted anybody else, too bad, didn't matter. Sorry, you're starting Lions at this point. DJ Moore, 7 for 127 on 11 targets. Curtis Samuel, 8 for 70 and a touchdown on 10 targets. And Robbie Anderson somehow getting 46 yards on 7 carries, or on 7 receptions, on 9 targets. So I don't really know too much what to say there. But PJ Walker also lost a fumble. So 3 total turnovers for him. And they had 3-1, it looks like, turnovers, and the Lions still go 0-20 or lose 0-20. So how that's possible, I don't know. Shout out to the Lions; they always suck. Serious question: will the Lions ever be good? I honestly do not know. Somebody, like I said, I'm a Packers fan. I have never seen the Lions be good, so I honestly don't even know if I'm not that old either. But I don't know if that's even possible at this point for them to be good. As we saw Barry Sanders and we saw Kevin Johnson retire early, I would not be surprised if we start seeing some Lions fans retire from being fans early. Speaking of retiring, that's probably what Jake Luton should do. 16 for 37, 4 interceptions. It's funny to say. Jacksonville loses 27-3, by the way, to the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, 32 for 46, 267, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. QBR of 69.8. Shout out Big Ben. Nice. James Conner, 13 for 89. Benny Snell, 7 for 15 and a touchdown. So shout out to Benny Snell, for taking the touchdown away. He deserved it on that 2 per 1 yard average carry. James Robinson, the only guy on the box score to touch the ball for the Jacksonville Jaguars, 17 for 73. He's playing hard. That doesn't get you any more points, but it is what it is, right? Deontay Johnson, monster day, 12 for 111, 16 on 16 targets. All of that led the team. Claypool, 4 for 59 and a touch on 8. Eric Ebron, 4 for 36, a touchdown on 7 targets. So I think this is going to be the trend. You're going to want to play Claypool and Johnson. I think they're the best two. I'd say Deontay is probably the best option that they have on the team. My dynasty team rejoices. Ebron also in the right situation since tight end seems to be some form of wasteland. He is a good play, seems every other week or so. So I do like Ebron, and I do like Deontay and Claypool. Juju's more of a dice throw at this point. At least that's how I see him. Not too excited about him. Shark, 4 for 41 on 8 targets. And that's about it. Everybody else was pretty much terrible. So between the Lions and the Jaguars, we got some pretty bad football going on out there. Gardner Minshew is expected to be returned very shortly here. So Luton, whatever you want to call him, his time as a starter will be done soon. Thank God. So I'm laughing because co-host number 2, Brandon, kept telling me all year how good the Gardner Minshew was going to be and how the Jaguars were going to be okay. Well, and the Lions, but 1-9. They might have a new starting quarterback next year. Between them and the Jets, we're going to see who gets the long-haired Lawrence. I don't know why I called him that, but we're going to that's enough of that game. Moving forward, Chark's the only one I'd probably still care about, Chark and Robinson. But Chark is more of a dart throw at this point. Robinson, you have a pretty high floor, so obviously I think he's going to be good week to week. Speaking of good week to week, that segue is going nowhere because I don't think either the Titans or the Ravens are good week to week. The Titans do win this one 30-24. They had to do it in OT, of course, because why not? Once again proving, in my honest opinion, that the Ravens are not very good in terms of quarterback play. I think Lamar Jackson is probably the most overrated quarterback right now. I was just so happens I was about to read his stats: 17 for 29, 186, one touchdown, one interception. He also rushed 13 times for 51 yards. He's under 4 yards a carry, so I'm not even entirely sure what the point is, but I guess he's moving the chains. They're trying to that way. J.K. Dobbins, 15 for 70 and a touchdown. I will say that it looks like J.K. Dobbins is kind of taking over the backfield here. Finally, maybe, hopefully. He's obviously the best running back on the team. I don't know why it's taken him this long to give the man the ball. Gus Edwards, Mark Ingram combined for 5 carries. So it looks like hopefully this is the week he's starting to take over. I know we said that, and then, of course, him and Mark Ingram look like they have COVID. So hopefully when they get back from that, whenever that may be, they will be the leading running backs moving forward. He will be the leading running back moving forward. I think he's going to be a good late resurgence play that could really help you take over the league there. It's always a little tough because Lamar takes so much of the rushing work, and I know they were behind a little this game, so it probably hurts him. But I think that there are better days ahead for JK, and I think he's going to be very good moving forward. Might be a good week to trade for him, honestly, if he does have COVID. I know a lot of, especially if he's on a team that definitely needs to win and you're in a good position. So I think he's a good trade candidate as far as this week goes. As far as next week, the receiving, Mark Andrews, 5 for 96 on 7 targets, all of those team highs. Dez Bryant somehow is the second leading receiver, 4 for 28. I would not care at all about that. I don't think he's very good, so take that for what you will. Tennessee rushing, I shouldn't have to tell you he's not very good. You all know he's not very good. Not anymore anyway. Ryan Tannehill, 22 for 31, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Was outplayed by Logan Woodside, who was 1 for 1 for 7 yards. That was a joke, of course. Derrick Henry, 28 for 133 and a touchdown. That touchdown coming in overtime. Beautiful touchdown run to seal the deal there. Shout out Derrick Henry for just being an absolute unit, running people over. It's like a more athletic bus almost. He's just dude's getting it. Speaking of getting it, Corey Davis, 5 for 11, 5 for 113 on 7 targets, tied for a team high. Great day for him, making himself some money moving forward. A.J. Brown, 4 for 62 and a touchdown on 7 targets. That touchdown came on the play you've all seen 1,000 times on Twitter and Instagram, and asked yourself, why am I still seeing this play? It's the one he ran over. He made everybody look like bowling pins. So great play out of him. Not much else to talk about. Johnny Smith did go 4 for 20 and got the touchdown on 6 targets. So he, once again, proves to be an every other week play. You play him, and then you don't play him, and then he scores. Then you play him again, he lets you down. You just keep flip-flopping until you end up dropping him because you're angry. Ryan Tannehill did fumble twice, did not lose a fumble. I read that incorrectly. That's why I said that. So that wasn't overly helpful to anybody. Speaking of not overly helpful to anyone, that Patriots offense. Patriots lose to the 2-6 Texans, 27-20. Sometimes you just don't have much to say. There's really not much to say about this. Cam Newton, 26 for 40, 365, 1 touchdown. I don't think he is helping his future contract anymore like we thought after the first couple weeks. I know, we knew that after week 4, but hey, we might as well just say it. Damian Harris, 11 for 43 and a touchdown. Why you would not keep going to the man is just, I don't know why, but James White, a little bit of a resurgence, 5 for 19. He's going to end in the passing game 6 for 64. 9 targets, which was a team high. I think, actually, if somebody has dropped him, he's probably a pretty good pickup right now. With Rex Burkhead going up, I know he didn't make the injury section. I'm sorry. With Rex Burkhead going out, I think he's going to pick up a lot more work, and this is something that could really help him out. So definitely a nice game for him. Right when we thought we were happy with Jacoby Myers, he comes out and drops a 3 for 38 on 3 targets, while Damiere Byrd goes 6 for 132 on 7. So if we're playing Predict the Future, I would say that this is not going to be telling of the future, and Jacoby Myers is the guy, but I'm shrugging. I don't know. But that's just my guess. On the Houston side of the ball, Deshaun Watson, 28 for 37, 344, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Also 6 for 36 and a touchdown on the ground. Duke Johnson, 10 for 15. That's solid 1.5 yard per carry, but I believe he is injured. I'm not sure how injured, but I think he might be done for the year. So CJ Prosise, for what it's worth, was the only running back on the team who did get carries. We are still waiting to see who the backup running back is going to be there, or the next guy up is going to be. Through the air, Brandon Cooks, the guy I dropped on week 4, the week before he went off 4 for 85 on 5 targets. Jordan Akins, 5 for 83 on 6. Will Fuller, 6 for 80 on 8 targets, team high. So nothing crazy there. It's just surprising the way the touchdowns went, honestly. But, with New England giving up the ball as much as they did, it's just Actually, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think I read that incorrectly. They did not give up the ball. I don't know why I was having a meltdown there. But interesting game overall, that's for sure. Randall Cobb and Kiki Kuti got to catch touchdowns. So definitely a little weird there. That being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next game. That one, both teams are bad, if we're being honest. The Patriots-Texans, I don't really have much to add on that one. The Texans are still trying hard, and I think they still will, but they're not going anywhere. And then, obviously, the New England season just kind of got derailed officially with that loss. Moving on to the Dolphins-Broncos, another game that everybody just loves. Dolphins lose this one 13-20 in what was a very strange game. It was very strange. Ryan Fitzpatrick ended up playing. Tua started. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 12 for 18, 117 yards, 1 interception. Tua, 11 for 20, 83 yards, and 1 touchdown. Like I said, very weird game. And then on the other hand, Drew Lock, 18 for 30, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Melvin Gordon actually having himself a day for once. 15 for 84 and 2 touchdowns against a good defense. So a little bit confusing. Philip Lindsay, 16 for 82, also a good day for him. Salvon Ahmed, 12 for 43, and that's as much as the rushing. You care about rushing. It is worth noting because I own Matt Breida. Matt Breida, 2 for 4. So I believe this might have been his first game back, but clearly he's not much of anything the way Salvon Ahmed's playing. Not really sure what's going on here moving forward. I believe Tua will still be the starter. I think he just got a little overwhelmed last game, and they kind of got him out of there. Obviously, they're still a playoff team. I mean, they were 6-3, so I think they were just trying to help the team out there and get that victory. The Broncos appear to be playing up quite a bit, cutting off the intermediate passing routes, making him throw a little deeper. And when you do that to guys like him as of one game in, Teddy Bridgewater, the Alex Smith types, when you kind of cut off their 2-yard slants, it really, in Lamar, it really kills a lot of the offenses. It kind of takes away what they're good at. And so that might be a blueprint moving forward that other teams try. The Broncos defense isn't overly incredible. So, it's one thing if you get shut down by the Steelers, but to get shut down by the Broncos is not such a good thing. So we'll have to see how that works moving forward. The only touchdown the Dolphins got, like we said, was the 201 to Devontae Parker, who was 6 for 61 on 9 targets, team high. Mike Gesicki, 4 for 43. Salvon Ahmed also got 5 for 31 in the past game. He looks like somebody who's going to be involved every single week. If you weren't able to get him, that's too bad. Unfortunately, in the league I'm in, he was picked up the week he went off somehow. So somebody played him for some reason, and they got a free guy. So that was good for them. Tim Patrick, 5 for 119 on 8 targets. Noah Fant, 4 for 55 on 5. And Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 37 on 8. KJ Hamler even getting in on the action, 4 for 35 on 6 targets. Tim Patrick, like we talk about the boomerang style, he's just every other week, he's just moving back and forth. So it'll be interesting to see him moving forward. Not that any of us have any faith in the Broncos passing attack, but I would say him and obviously Jerry Jeudy are what you want, and I would say they're more of a low-end wide receiver 2/flex option, in my personal opinion. Take it or leave it, of course. Speaking of take it or leave it, the 0-9 Jets facing what was the 2-6 or 2-7 Chargers. Can you guess who won this game? The Jets did not. Obviously, 0-10 now. Incredible. They are paralleling the whatever year Lions. Was it the 07 Lions? I don't know. That couldn't have been that long ago. I don't remember. Jets somehow managed to put up 28 points. Joe Flacco, 15 for 30 for 205, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Frank Gore, 15 for 61 and a touchdown. LaMichael Pirine, 8 for 33 and 1 touchdown. I noticed other people have been calling him Perine. I don't believe that's correct, but I don't know. So Pirine, whichever one you prefer. Joe Flacco also getting in on that rushing attack, 1 for 2 yards. Incredible speed by Joe. Justin Herbert, 37 for 49. 366, 3 touchdowns, no interception. Dude is a monster out there for a rookie. Absolutely incredible. Going to win Rookie Player of the Year. Shout out to Burrow's knee for that. Kalen Ballage leads the way on the ground, 16 for 44. And that's all that matters in terms of rushing. He was the only guy over 3 carries. So, Josh Kelly got 4 for -2. Side note, Josh Kelly is probably the worst rookie running back in the league. I've been looking at buying some rookie auto cards for Justin Herbert, and it's been funny because sometimes they do the dual auto cards, and you'll get the Justin Herbert, Josh Kelly dual auto patch card, or RPA, or whatever you want to call it, and Josh Kelly hurts the value of the card, which is honestly pretty funny. Anyway, I just wanted to take a second out of everyone's day to tell you all that he sucks, like I do every week, because he's terrible. Moving on to that's a mean segue. I don't want to do that. Denzel Mims, 3 for 71 on 8 targets. So, for a rookie on the Jets with Flacco as a quarterback, that's okay. You'd like to see him catch a couple more on 8 targets, but that's all right. It's the Jets, right? 70 yards, that's good. That's a win in my book. If you have him in Dynasty, that's a thumbs up right there. Rashad Perriman, 2 for 54 and a touchdown on 4 targets. Chris Herndon, 2 for 32 and a touch on 3 targets. And Ty Johnson, that was on the Lions, that no one knew about. 4 for 17 on 6 targets. And what happened to Jamison Crowder? 1 for 16 on 3 targets. Did not help any of my teams out this week, so shout out to him. He was coming back from an injury, in fairness to him, I believe it was. So hopefully bigger things ahead next week. I believe this is his only bad game of the year, so I would expect him to bounce back. But with Joe Flacco and the 0-10 Jets standing in your way, who knows? Who knows week to week? Keenan Allen, what the heck is this? 16 for 145 on 19 targets. Fair enough. 4 for 72 and a touch on 7 targets for Mike Williams. And Hunter Henry, 4 for 48 and a touch on 7 targets as well. Herbert moving the ball around quite a bit, mostly to Keenan Allen, but he's finding everybody for touchdowns. So, that's something you're definitely excited about. If I was a Chargers fan, if I was one of the 10 Chargers fans out there, I would be very excited about Justin Herbert. I'm not a Chargers fan, and I'm excited about Justin Herbert. So look at that. Definitely looks like, at this point, I would call him the best quarterback of the draft class so far. Obviously, Burrow's very good. I mean, I'm not saying he's like by a wide margin. I think he helps him a little bit. Tua, we're in a way to see on him. I'm still not sure how I feel about him. Looks almost like a slower, non-running Lamar, but I'm just saying that's too much for him. He's a better passer than Lamar. But speaking of better passer than Lamar, we're going to go to the Packers versus Colts game. Packers lose this one 31-34 in extravagant fashion. When I think of the Green Bay Packers, I think of games like this. I think of games where, and I say we because, again, I'm a fan. I've said that like 6 times ad nauseum. I think of a team that constantly is pretty good, but they somehow find a way to lose in the weirdest possible ways that I've ever seen, also win in the weirdest possible ways. When I think of the Seattle, the touchdown, the year of the replacement refs, there was a phrase for it that I don't. Was it the Fail Mary? The Fail Mary. I remember that. I clearly remember this. I remember the Seahawks again scoring like 1,000 points within 4 minutes to beat us. They got an onside kick. They converted a Hail Mary on a 2-point conversion. I just don't even want to talk about it because I'm getting upset. I mean, I also have seen us beat never mind. But this was the most Packers way to lose of all time, with poor Aaron Rodgers just sitting on the sideline being like, you know what I'm about to say. Rodgers, 27 for 38, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Aaron Jones, 10 for 41 and a touch. Jamal Williams, 5 for 12. So not much rushing. Colts defense is very good. So you can't really blame them for that. Phillip Rivers, 24 for 36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Nice game for him. Phillip Rivers usually kind of up and down. Packers defense is extremely overrated, so I don't want to give him too much credit, but it is what it is. Jonathan Taylor, 22 for 90, so 4 yards a carry. He's still pretty I mean, is anybody excited about him? Clearly, I don't think he's the best running back this draft, but Jordan Wilkins, 4 for 21, 5.3 yards a carry. Give Jordan the ball more. Falling on deaf ears. Nyheim Hines back down to earth, 6 for 2 on 6 for 2 rushing. So definitely not a awesome effort out of him. As far as receiving goes, Devontae Adams, 7 for 106 and a touch. Valdez-Scantling, 3 for 55 on 6 targets. He's proving to be pretty good. I actually think he's a pretty good flex option every single week. Definitely a good deep league play. His ceiling is definitely huge. The floor is ungodly low, though. That kind of sucks. But Robert Tonyan, 5 for 44 and a touch. He's also a pretty good tight end play, in my opinion. Aaron Jones, also 4 for 30 through the air on 4 targets. Michael Pittman, 3 for 66 on 3 targets. Zach Pascal, 3 for 54 on 3. T.Y. Hilton, 3 for 36 on 6. That was a team high. And Nyheim Hines, 3 for 31 on 4. I don't really care to read the rest because nobody was really significant. In case you didn't see this game, it was the oddest game I've ever seen. The Packers, I believe this was all in the fourth quarter. The Packers muffed a punt or fumbled on the punt return, gave the Colts the lead, I believe it was. And I'm probably going to keep forgetting things because, anyway, the Colts had the ball, and all they had to do was get the first down to win, run the clock out. And there was legitimately like 8 plays in a row with penalties. I've never seen something so ridiculous. The first like 5 penalties, we were accepting and declining and this, that, and the other thing. Ends up being 3rd and 20. They get it to 4th and 4 and convert. And I just wanted to punch my TV. Luckily it's highly mounted, and I did not have the remote next to me. I did not have anything to throw other than my phone, but I've broken enough not to. I'm good not throwing those now. Anyway, they convert. They somehow commit 4 more holding penalties or whatever it is. They have to kick the ball. Rodgers drives the field in like 20 seconds. And we fumble the ball. I don't even know what to say. It's incredible. I believe it was Marquez Valdez-Scantling who fumbled. It was just an incredible, and this was an overtime. Excuse me. He did that in overtime. After it was just embarrassing. Embarrassing game for the Packers. After the game ended, I was mad that either team got a win because neither team deserved to win that. It was embarrassing football. I've spent way too long talking about this game. But Colts and Packers both 7-3 now. I think they're both pretty good teams. I do not consider either an elite team at this moment. Packers defense is always the world's largest liability, and Phillip Rivers is a massive liability, as anybody who's seen him trying to win football games in the fourth quarter trailing. So we're going to move on to another dumpster fire game, which was the Cowboys-Vikings. The Vikings, right when they start to look good, how do you lose to the Cowboys? I know Andy Dalton was back. He was hot, 22 for 32, 203, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. If you're giving Andy Dalton a 3-touchdown game, that is bad. Don't do that. Kirk Cousins, 22 for 30, 314, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, which, hearing that, you would say, how do the Vikings lose with Kirk Cousins not essentially destroying them? Dalvin Cook, 27 for 115 and a touchdown. You read through these and you say, how do they lose? And that's a good question. Zeke, 21 for 103. Tony Pollard, 5 for 60 and a touchdown. Tony Pollard's better than Zeke. You didn't hear it from me. Andy Dalton also getting in on the rushing, 3 for 5. That's a joke. Amari Cooper, 6 for 81 on 7 targets. CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 34 and a touch on 6. Gallup, 2 for 29 on 5. And Dalton Schultz, 4 for 25 and a touchdown on 6. Dalton Schultz, I think he's going to be an okay tight end play. Obviously, you've probably been playing him, but he's probably a good one the rest of the way. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb in that order, who I like on the Cowboys moving forward. I don't think that's surprising to anyone. Adam Thielen, 8 for 123 and 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. I believe he got hurt. Oh, no, he has COVID. Excuse me. I believe he's in the COVID protocol, so we'll see if he is back for this week. If not, I would expect a massive Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson game. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 86 and a touch on 5. Dalvin Cook, 5 for 45 on 5. I would expect both of their numbers to go up significantly. Justin Jefferson would be a must-play in DFS, my personal opinion. But definitely a weird game. I thought the Vikings were looking okay. They were trending to be okay, and then they just do that against Dallas, who is also half a game behind. Them and Washington are tied with 3. I believe, actually, the Giants might have 3 as well. To Philly's 3.5, I'm going to call it. They have the 3 wins and a tie. So NFC East turning out to be an incredible matchup battle. I'm actually kind of intrigued to see how this plays out. Will a team make the playoffs with 5 wins? I'm kind of hoping so I can make fun of them, but we will see. Next game, KC played the Raiders. 35-31 is the final score. Mahomes, 34 for 45, 348, 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. Derek Carr played very well as well. 23 for 31, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, essentially this game just came to whoever had the ball last. I mean, it was one of those games that for some reason the Raiders seemed to have the Chiefs' number. Edwards-Helaire, 14 for 69, nice, 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell, 7 for 25, 1 touchdown. So not a great rushing game for him, but he did find the end zone, so that's always nice. Josh Jacobs, 17 for 55 and a touch. Devontae Booker got in there, 5 for 16, no touchdowns. I was not referring to the end zone by getting in there. As far as the passing game goes, Nelson Aguilar, is he startable every week? 6 for 88 and a touchdown on team-high 9 targets. Darren Waller, 7 for 88 and a touchdown on 7 targets. Hunter Renfrow, a little bit of a light game, 2 for 37 on 2. Clearly, I would say clearly those two are the best options. Obviously, Waller, but I think Aguilar is probably the best wide receiver play. I hate to say that when Henry Ruggs is on the roster, 1 for 5 on 1 target. But I think Nelson Aguilar is the go-to. I think he might be a low-end wide receiver 2/flex at least the rest of the way. Definitely has a high upside as he seems to score a touchdown every single week. I believe he almost had 2 this week. So definitely a nice play for him. Nice game for him, and he seems to be putting up a lot of those in a row, enough to make me think maybe we should be playing him every week. Unfortunately, is that unfortunately? I don't know. I think it's unfortunate, but hey, it doesn't matter who's scoring points as long as they're scoring points, right? Travis Kelce, 8 for 127 and a touchdown on 10 targets. Tyreek Hill, 11 for 102 and a touchdown on 14. Very strange to see his Tyreek Hill's average at 9.3. Maybe it's not. It just feels like he always has like a long bomb play or a long yak play. But 6 for 44 on 8 targets for Demarcus Robinson, and nobody else did anything outside of that. So I guess that's everything. Was pretty much as expected. Le'Veon Bell probably would be the big man out here, 1 for 11 on 1 target, and like we said, 7 for 25, but he did get the touchdown on the ground. So it appears he's not doing too much as of this point. I know he's still new, but it looks like he's just not going to be much anything for fantasy, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know, however you think about that. Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rams win this one 27-24 in what was a good game, ending marred by a Tom Brady interception. I had Cooper Kupp and the Bucs defense going into this one, and I lost by 0.9. So I was very upset last night watching how that game went. Jared Goff, 39 for 51, 376, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tom Brady, 26 for 48, 216, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So not an incredible game for Tom Brady. You could argue not an incredible game for Goff either, but he did get some touchdowns and some yards, which was nice for him. Looks like the Rams offense is kind of getting back on track. They're always so weird. They always seem to bouncy ball a little bit too, kind of like the 2020 stock market. They're just up and down all over the damn place. But Malcolm Brown, 3 for 20. Cam Akers, 5 for 15. And Darrell Henderson Jr., 8 for 5. So that is 20 as a team, 20 for 37 on the ground. So that is awful. I think at this point, we really can't trust anybody in the running game to do anything. If you don't have to play him, I probably would try not to. Ronald Jones, 10 for 24. Leonard Fournette, 7 for 17 in 1 touchdown. Antonio Brown even got a carry. But like the Rams, 18 for 42 on the ground. So not much of rushing for either team. I know both teams have pretty solid defense, especially in the front. So that's probably to be expected. But I still, in general, don't think either team runs the ball overly effective. I guess Ronald Jones usually is pretty good. But like we said, they're kind of bouncy ball-ish. Up and down, up and down. As far as receiving, Antonio Brown, 8 for 57 on 13 targets. Led the team in all those categories. Chris Godwin, 7 for 53 and a touch on 10. And Mike Evans, 5 for 49 and a touch on 9. Gronk also 2 for 25 on 6. So I think it's one of those things. All those guys are going to get work every week, and I think it's just a crapshoot to see who gets the touchdowns. But if you have any of those guys, you're playing them. I think even Gronk's a weekly play at this point, probably. I know 2 for 25 is, what's that, 4.5, and then in a full PPR. He's more of a dart throw. If you want a guy who has a high chance of a touchdown, I would play him. On the other side of the ball, about time we saw Cooper Kupp get some love. 11 for 45 on 13 targets. Robert Woods, 12 for 130 and a touch on 15 targets. That was the team high. It'd be hard for it not to be. Imagine not being the team high. That'd be pretty crazy. Excuse me there. But good night for him. Josh Reynolds, 3 for 32 on 6 targets. And Gerald Everett, 4 for 27 on 5 targets. So working the ball around a lot there. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, obviously the two big guys. Josh Reynolds always going to be the third option, or at least should be most weeks. And, of course, who gets the passing touchdowns other than Robert Woods? Van Jefferson and Cam Akers, just like we all predicted. So kind of a tough scene if you have those guys. You would love to see Cooper Kupp get in the end zone, but, what do you do? You can't hard to argue with 11 and 145. So that's gonna do it for the Rams-Bucks game. Very good game, by the way. I was hoping Tom Brady would drive the field, but alas, he was unable to do so with that terrible interception at the end there. He just missed the safety. I don't know what happened there. That was just a disaster. But so that's going to do it for the week. I believe it was a week 11. Oh, goodness gracious. Everything's just going so quick. It's hard to keep track. That's going to do it for the week 11 recap there. More games starting this Thursday, Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's excited for it. I am. I can't wait for all that Black Friday shopping I'm going to do safely and responsibly. Anyway, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. We will be back, or probably I will be back tomorrow, giving a preview show for Week 12. So be excited and stay tuned for that. And if you don't like Brandon, just set a bookmark, or not a bookmark, a notification. Turn on the notification bell or whatever it is. I don't know. You're going to get another Brandon free episode, so that might be exciting for you. But we'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, or just whenever it is. Thanks again for dealing with just me and my haircut, which I cut myself 10 minutes before this podcast. I know it's a little bit all over the place. Still working on it. Still, one of these days I'll just lose all my hair and I won't have to deal with it anymore. But until then, thank you for dealing with it, and enjoy the rest of your whatever time of the day it is. Goodbye.